Hello children. In this session, let's continue our science chapter. Chapter number 2, microorganisms, friend and foe. And in this chapter, till now, we have learned about what are microorganisms, different types of microorganisms, and then we have learned about beneficial microorganisms, that is uses of microorganisms, such as preparation of curd, bread and cake. Microorganisms are used in commercial production of alcohol, wine and acetic acid, and increasing soil fertility. And in last session, we have learned about preparation of medicines and vaccines, cleaning up the environment. So till now, uses of microorganisms we have completed. And in last session, we have started with harmful effects of microbes or microorganisms. In that, we have learned about what are pathogens, that is microorganisms that cause diseases are called as pathogens. Microorganisms, they cause diseases in animals and human beings, as well as it causes diseases in plants. And today in this session, we will be learning about the harmful effect of microorganisms, that is spoilage of food and which leads to food poisoning, and how can we prevent the spoilage of food. That is nothing but different methods of food preservation. So children, now let's have quick recap of this harmful microorganisms, what we have learned in last session. That is some microorganisms that causes diseases in animals and plants, and these disease causing microorganisms, what we call that as pathogens. And some microorganisms, they grow in food substances and produce toxic substances and make the food poisonous. Food poisoning can lead to illness and even death, and this we are going to learn in this session. And also microorganisms spoil materials like clothes, leather, wood, etc. And we have learned that disease causing microorganisms in human, what we call that as pathogens, they enter our body through air we breathe, water we drink, food contact, or that is physical contact, or through carriers, what we call that as insects. And these microorganisms, we call that as pathogens. And these diseases, as they spread from an infected person to a healthy person, so we call those diseases as communicable diseases. Isn't it? What are communicable diseases? Diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, physical contact, or through insects or any carriers are called as communicable diseases. Example, we have learned cholera, common cold, chickenpox, tuberculosis, etc. And also we have learned that about the microorganisms that causes these communicable diseases and mode of transmission, as well as we have learned about some preventive measure to protect us from these diseases. And like carriers, we can see that housefly, female Anopheles mosquito that cause malaria, and female Aedes mosquito that cause dengue fever, etc. And so till now we have learned that microorganisms that enter the body, it cause illness. So how it spread? Eating contaminated food by microorganism. What we are going to learn in this session, that what we call that as food poisoning. And as well as it causes different, after we eat immediately we have to gargle our mouth. Otherwise, bacteria which act on the food that remains on the between the teeth, and it produces acid which cause tooth decay. And also some diseases can spread from one person to another. They are called as contagious diseases. That is by contact. For example, influenza, measles, mumps, conjunctivitis, and chickenpox. And now let us learn about what is food spoilage. We often see that food has been kept out for too long time. After, especially during summer season, it smells foul and looks rotten. How it happens? But what causes this? What will happen if we eat this spoiled food? Can we eat this? Is it edible? Let's find more about this food spoilage. Food spoilage. And if you see that spoiled food and fresh food, for example, if you take bread which is fresh, which smell, and now we'll see about this its appearance and smell. Fresh bread, its smell fresh and appear normal color. And if it is for too long time, it's light stinking smell, and you can see that slightly white velvety like structure appear on it. And after 2-3 days, you can see that along with the stinking smell, you can see greenish white, what we call that as fungus. It appear on that bread and it has strong stinking smell. So gradually these microorganisms, it spoils the food. And if you keep it for many days after the shell period, that is what we call that as expiry date, it has strong stinking smell, and it has you can see that thick greenish black cottony layer which grows on the bread. So this way you can see the food gets spoiled due to microorganisms. And this food poisoning could be, and you can see that if you eat sometimes outside food, after some time, you can if anybody is having stomach ache and all, doctor advises if this stomach ache is due to food poisoning, isn't it? Food poisoning, it could be due to the consumption of spoiled food by some microorganisms. So microorganisms that grow on our food, it produces toxic substance, poisonous substance. So this make the food poisonous and causing serious illness and even death. So it is very important to preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. Children, what is food poisoning? That is, food poisoning is after we eat that spoiled food by how food can be spoiled by microorganisms, then it leads to the disease, what you call that as a condition, called that as food poisoning. So what is the reason for that food poisoning? Because microorganisms that grow on our food substances, they produce toxic substance, it is poisonous substance. This make the food poisonous, causing serious illness and even death. So it is very important to preserve food and prevent it from being spoiled. So now we will be learning about how food can be preserved. Various methods of food preservation. Food can be either preserved by drying or by you can say salting, adding sugaring, boiling. Milk we boil, isn't it? Hot temperature, boiling, or you can store food under cold temperature, that is refrigerated, keeping it in refrigerator. So these are the different methods of food preservation, what we are going to learn in detailed manner. So food preservation, and before that already in the first chapter about crop production and management, we have learned that how that harvested grains, food grains can be preserved properly. The same way here we are going to learn about cooked food. How do we preserve cooked food at home? And we just now we have seen, if you keep that bread after unused uh, for longer time under moist condition, the bread will be affected, attacked by fungus. So this microorganism, this way they spoil our food. And how do we come to know the food gets spoiled? Because it by its foul smell, it emits bad smell, and it has a bad taste, and the food color also will be changed. So by seeing this, we come to know whether the food is spoiled or not by microorganisms. So is now will the question will arise, is spoiling food a chemical reaction? Yes. Now let's study the common methods of preserving food in our house. We have to save it from the attack of microorganisms. So food can be preserved, and we have to protect or preserve the food from the attack of microorganisms. So children, now first method we are going to learn about is chemical method. So under chemical method, salt and edible oil, which are commonly used chemicals to check here in the sense to control the growth of microorganisms. So we call that as preservatives. So what are preservatives? Chemicals like salt and edible oil, which are used to control the growth of microorganisms, are called as preservatives. And we add sometimes acid preservatives or a common salt, isn't it, to pickle. Acid preservative vinegar, that is nothing but acetic acid, to be added to the pickle to prevent the attack of microorganisms. And other than this, we can also use sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite can be used as a preservatives to protect food from microorganisms. So children, what all we have learned in chemical method: common salt, edible oil, sodium metabisulfite, and sodium benzoate. These are all commonly used preservatives to preserve food. And sometimes we use, that is these are all this chemical preservatives such as sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite. They are usually used in jams and squashes to control the spoilage of those food items. And now we'll learn in detailed manner about chemical method. First is preservation by common salt. So common salt has been used to preserve meat and fish for over long period of time. So meat and fishes are covered with dry salt so that the growth of bacteria can be controlled. And salting is also used to preserve this amla, that is gooseberry, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. So what this preservation by common salt, what are all different food items we can use it by preserving, that is meat, fish, as well as raw mangoes, gooseberries, that is amla, tamarind, etc. And the same way preservation by sugar, jams, jellies, squashes are preserved by sugar. And what happens, how this sugar can be used as a preservative? Sugar reduces the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria that spoils the food. How sugar preserve the food? Because it reduces the moisture content so that the growth of bacteria can be arrested, because of which the food is spoiled, isn't it? So if the growth of bacteria is arrested, stopped, then it will not get spoiled. So this way sugar is used as preservative. So now let us again revise what is the two chemical methods: sugaring and salting. Sugar, jam, squashes, jellies, etc. And salting, even you can add here pickle, any food item which that is raw mangoes, before you make that pickle, your mother used to put some salt in it, and she will store it for store it, isn't it? So salting and sugaring. And now let us see, sugaring is the process of desiccating a food by first, that is preserving food by first dehydrating it. What do you mean by dehydrating? Removal of water content from it, then packing it with pure sugar. So this sugar can be crystalline, what we use that, or crystalline sugar crystals. It can be in the form of crystalline or in the form of raw sugar, or it can be high sugar density liquid, that is we make sugar syrup and then we can use it, or it can be in the form of honey, molasses, etc. So this way sugar can be used to preserve food. This process called as what? Sugaring. And salting, the same way. Salting is a preservation of food by dry edible salt. It is related, as I told before, related with pickling and preparing the food with brine. What is brine? Salty water, and is in the form of curing. It is one of the oldest method of preserving food. So salting, why salting is used? Because most bacteria and fungi, they are pathogens. Bacteria and fungi cause several harmful diseases, isn't it? So they are pathogenic organisms. They cannot survive in a highly salty environment. So due to this hypertonic nature of salt, a living cell in that environment will become dehydrated. Here, living cell in the sense that bacteria and fungus become dehydrated through osmosis and they die or become temporarily inactivated. That is, their growth can be stopped. So this way we can preserve food by salting. And now, so first two methods, sugaring and salting, we have learned. Now we will be learning about preservation by oil and vinegar. So use of oil and vinegar. Oil, edible oil, vinegar is nothing but acetic acid. They prevent spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such environment. So what do we use? That vegetables, fruits, fish and meat are often preserved by pickling method. That is, pickling in the sense you preserved by oil and vinegar. So now here you can see pickling. Pickling is nothing but preserving food by oil and vinegar. So pickling is the process of soaking food in a solution containing salt, acid, here vinegar, or alcohol. It can be used with almost all food items. Most method require, it is a most commonly used method because it require no special equipment. However, pickled food can be unsafe if it is prepared carelessly or stored at room temperature. So we have to be very careful while preparing with wet hand or without the storing container should be properly dried and it has to be tightly closed. That and also we have to carefully prepare it. Otherwise, it will be spoiled. So always pickling is a combined with another method, that is you can do salting, or it can be used as with vinegar and oil. So you can you keep it in the refrigerator, so we can call that as refrigerating. So it always combined with other method of preserving food. So what is pickling? By preserving food by salt, oil and vinegar, that is acid, is called as pickling. Now next method, pasteurization. Have you heard of pasteurized milk? What we use is pasteurized milk. And why does the milk that comes in packets not spoil? Because the milk is pasteurized. Now we will learn about what is pasteurization. Pasteurized milk can be consumed even without boiling, as it is free from harmful microbes. So now let us learn what is pasteurization. That is, milk is heated at about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and then stored. So this method is called as what? Pasteurization. Why? What is by doing so? It prevents the growth of microorganisms. Got it? What is pasteurization? Milk is heated at about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. And by doing so, it prevents the growth of microorganisms. And this process was discovered by Louis Pasteur. So by his name, it is called as pasteurization. And what is the purpose of pasteurization? To increase the milk safety for the consumer by destroying disease-causing microorganisms, what we call that as pathogens that may be present in the milk, as well as to increase keeping the quality of milk products by destroying spoilage of microbes and enzymes that contributed to reduce the quality and shelf life of milk, that is expiry date. Because microorganisms there, it will get spoiled soon. So when milk is pasteurized, the pathogens can be killed so that its shelf life may get increased. And next method, what we are going to learn is drying. Drying, as you know, some food items can be dried. Due to drying, what happens? Dehydration, the water content in it will be removed so that microorganisms cannot grow in that. So it will not be spoiled. And so till now, children, we have learned about chemical methods, salting, sugaring, then what else? Pasteurization and drying. Now we will learn about storage and packing. Even how we store food, and packing food is also very important to protect it from microorganisms. So nowadays you can see that dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. And this packing, what do you call that as vacuum packing? So you can see that tight packing, and you can see in the picture all airtight sealed contain. This packing is done so that food can be stored properly. Food items can be stored properly. And this vacuum packing is a method of packaging that removes air from the package prior to the sealing. Before sealing the packet, air will be removed. So in this method, removal of air can be done manually or automatically, placing items in a plastic film package so that air from inside it will be removed, and then they seal the package. So you can see that shrink film on that, say, sometimes used to have a tight fit to the contents. So children, till now we have learned about many traditional methods like drying, cooling, that is cooling in a refrigerator, isn't it? And boiling, freezing, boiling also. When you boil during summer, those who don't have a refrigerator, what they do, they often boiling. While boiling, it kills the microorganisms present in it so that the food can be preserved. Keeping it in refrigerator or freezing, that is in that temperature, growth of microorganisms can be arrested. So either by keeping refrigerated or by boiling it, isn't it? And salting, sugaring, pickling, and these are all the different methods. Other than this, various methods are given there, but only these methods are there for you. So by using this methods, food can be preserved. And other than this, industrial modern method, we have learned about pasteurization and vacuum packing, storing and packing in an airtight container. So these are the methods we have learned to preserve food. So children, now let us we have a quick whatever we have learned now. Food preservation. Food is spoiled by microorganisms. Spoiled food has bad smell and bad taste, and it leads to food poisoning. Food can be preserved by protecting it from microorganisms by different methods. Chemical methods like food like pickles can be preserved by using chemicals like salt, edible oil. Jams and squashes can be preserved by sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfite, or by sugaring. So these are all chemicals used as preservative. by using common salt, that is drying, that is food items like fish, meat, amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. are preserved by using common salt. And by using sugar, again jams, jellies, squashes can be preserved by sugar solution or can be storing it in honey, etc. And by using oil and vinegar, it is combined with that salting process, isn't it? Food like pickles, vegetables, etc. By using oil and vinegar, it prevents the growth of microbes. Heat and cold treatment, boiling it, heating it often. Food item kills the microbes. Similarly, when food items are stored at low temperature in the refrigerator, it prevents the growth of microbes. And then we have learned about pasteurization. That is, what is pasteurization? The process of heating milk to about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly cooling it, chilling it to prevent the growth of microbes is called as pasteurization. And this process was discovered by the scientist called Louis Pasteur. So by his name, this process is also named as pasteurization. Next, by storage and packaging, many food items are stored in airtight containers to protect them from microbes. So here in this figure together, you can see different types of preserving food items. So children, and next session, we will be learning about nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle. Thank you.